Mars and Cancer. Let's break it down. What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And we're going to talk about this Mars and Cancer transit. For the most part, uh, Mars doesn't really like the vibe in Cancer. But the vibe is everything when we're dealing with a water transit. You know what I'm saying? When we're dealing with water energy, the vibe is everything. So when it comes to the planet of Mars, which represents our passions and our motivations, but also our frustrations, these things are going to be on a moody basis. So it's going to all depend on your mood. Now, where we are right now, as far as astrologically, right, we're in a situation where we are in the process of coming into this new self, right? But it's not so much like I feel like 2022 was us doing much more of the experimentation, doing much more of us getting out there and trying to, trying to basically see or become more aware of what it is that we have as far as what makes us an individual, what makes us special, where we actually see ourselves and where we want to put ourselves. I feel like now in a year 7, right, 2023, last year was a year 6, so year 6 was all about what we were paying attention to in the first place. It was all about where we were choosing to focus our energy. It was us basically deciding on, okay, where are my powers and how am I going to utilize these things to get me where I see myself. And it could have been a year for you where you were doing a lot of self-discovery, but through more so action. You know what I'm saying? It was more so action based, and see that hasn't changed. In year 7 it's still action based, but it's a lot more about mental, and now it's less about you just trying to make moves towards whatever it is goal that you had. Right now it's really about becoming the goal that you have. It's about adopting the mentality that makes it even possible for you to achieve your goals. So this year is a much more mental year, you know what I'm saying, overall. That's why, again, even seven deals with the mental over different things. Like the 6, right, year 6, that's an energy that's dealing really with combining your thoughts and feelings. That was all about you maintaining focus long enough for you to have an idea, a conclusion on, okay, who I actually am. And so you should have been walking into 2023 with a lot more. Again, you might have lacked the confidence, but that was what was the whole, that was what the whole Pisces transit was for. It was for going into our subconscious and ironing out certain things as far as belief systems about ourselves, and cleaning up a lot of those self-doubts that you may have had, or insecurities that have been keeping you in that same position for too long. You know what I'm saying? You know damn well it's time to switch up. And see, that's where all the pressure is pointing at right now. We got a lot of pressure when it comes to energies, as far as Pluto then shifted into Aquarius, right? And then we got Saturn in Pisces. Now, the Mars in Cancer is directly trining that Saturn in Pisces, which should indicate a certain situation where, okay, our Mars, our passions, right, and the way in which we are choosing to structure ourselves, these things have an opportunity, or not an opportunity, but there's a gift there. It's a gift for us to take Mars energy, which is, if you look at the Mars archetype, Mars is all about that young, it's like the young sun, the sun who's all fire, wants to be in the mix, wants to be similar to its father, right? And let's say it wants to be similar to his father. So this is the child that, takes after some of the father's hobbies. Say the father is, fit and just strong, right? The Mars energy is like that first son, where it's like it wants to be just like its father. It wants to fulfill those duties, and it sees its father in positions of strength. It wants to reflect that, right? And I'm just giving this is just to give you an idea of what the Mars archetype feels within us, because whether you male or female, this is the part of you that is willing to get up and fight for something. This is the part of you that's willing to, put in the action and go through the pain and the suffering of, it's like when you're going for your goals, when you're putting it all on the line, you think of, you think of sports, just the energy behind sports, that energy of competition and wanting to even just like you think about working out, like how working out feels, where it's you versus your own self. It's you fighting whatever workout you're doing, right? You're fighting exhaustion. You're using your willpower to push further than what is just push further. You know what I'm saying? To push further through whatever workout you're doing, because when you work out, you could tell, like, okay, there's times where, again, you no matter if you are dead tired or not, the point of working out is to push yourself through it. Of course, it's not to hurt yourself, but it's to push through resistance and pain, and it's to really a form of expansion, but not so much Jupiter in the sense of expanding through wisdom or just experience itself. It's about pushing forward, going in a direction. That's why the Mars energy is all about intentions. It's where you direct a lot of your focus, a lot of your willpower. This makes you more efficient. See, this is what Mars can learn from Saturn, because Mars, without the proper guidance, right, the maturity, Mars is just destructive, and it can waste a lot of energy based upon, we talk about the lower octaves of Mars signs and stuff like that, going based on desires, going based on selfishness. And we talked about being positively selfish. Positively selfish is when you're doing something that's for the betterment of you. It's something that is, the intentions behind it are pure, meaning that they are more so about you and where you see yourself and where you believe your passion is best placed, rather than the negative end of being selfish, or the negative side of being selfish, or the negative end of Mars, which is intentions that's rooted in you just trying to get something out of something. So that's why Mars energy comes with a certain takeaway. So wherever Mars is at, you got to look at that house and that sign as if, okay, there's something there that I'm here to take. Whether it's and in this case, right, Mars and Cancer, you're in a lot of ways, we're taking our comfort back. We're taking a peace of mind back, you know what I'm saying? Or a piece of not so much a mental peace of mind, but a piece of ourselves. It's a piece of our comfort zone, a piece of our security on an emotional level. So in a lot of ways, you can look at Mars and Cancer as us now confronting a lot of these insecurities that we may have had that haven't quite been addressed yet. Mars was in Gemini for a very long time, where we were sorting things out more so with the way in which we communicate. So even things in our surroundings slightly, right? It might have been in a different house than your third house, but it's more so your mentality. Usually your mentality is those thoughts that you frequent. You know what I'm saying? Like when we talk about third house on a mental level, these are thoughts that you frequently be in. So different ideas and concepts, we've had to fight through those things to kind of get clear again on what thoughts should be around us that contribute to us actually going forward in the direction that we want to go for. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you might have a lot of thoughts around you that don't actually align with what your mission is. So you wonder why it's hard to stay on task, or why you can't quite maintain focus. This is like that Gemini energy. You got to keep in mind, Gemini, or what's on our mind. See, this is what the third house is before we're talking about our actual neighbors. We're talking about neighboring thoughts and ideas, familiar thoughts and ideas that keep us in familiar situations and circumstances. So a lot of times we be wanting to change ourselves, but we don't change our mentality. So it don't matter how far out you go, ninth house, to try to see something new or try to learn something, if your surrounding thoughts, your common ideas are not changing along with that new experience, aka you actually immersing yourself in the surrounding of the new state of mind that you're trying to be in, you're always going to revert back to old patterns. So that's something to always keep in mind, especially dealing with this energy, because just to give context as well, we're in that first part of spring. So Aries energy, and that directly squares Mars. So that lets us know that there's actually a learning process taking place. Now, the sun, what we're focused on, is the sign of Mars. It is that passion and willpower. So our mind is on new beginnings, or our focus is on new beginnings. Our actions need to be participating in new beginnings. So this is you again, you might be doing the same thing, but this is applying new pressure, aka a new pressure that you're applying based upon a new way to see and feel about whatever it is that you've been doing. It's your life. So chances are, especially if you are, around your Saturn return, or, I really would say if you're 18 and up, chances are, 18 is still mad young, because it's still enough a lot of time for you to switch ideas and change things. But for the most part, at 18, you have somewhat of a baseline idea of where you kind of want to go. And I don't really mean that on a physical world level, aka a physical experience level, where what job you want and all that shit, but it's more so, you probably have an idea of the interests you have, and you have somewhat of and even if it's an unrealistic idea, because that's the thing. 18 is the year, is a year 9, and it's about you exploring yourself, detaching from everybody else's idea of what you could be, and you actually experimenting with what you want to be, and you getting into that space. So 18 is still young, because we still go through a whole nother 9 years to where you actually hit your Saturn return 10 years later, right, at 28. And at 28, that's when you're starting to actually see, okay, I had some very unrealistic expectations about what 18 and my 20s could be. Now I'm going into 30 and I have a better idea, and it's a more stable idea, and now I'm fully immersed in the truth and the root of who it is I'm going to be. That's kind of how the years go, you know what I'm saying? And you go through each, year 1, year 2, so on and so forth. And this is you piecing together yourself, yourself, basically, as you go throughout your life. But what I'm getting at is basically just identifying that, right now, us going into spring, this is us reinventing ourselves. So it's a lot of it is going to cause friction, because Mars at this moment in time, Mars is in a situation where it's basically going to bed. Mars is like, it's almost like you could think about that Cancer energy, Mars needing, on the surface, it's going to look like Mars need rest. So this is going to be our passions and willpower slowing down a little bit, needing emotional support in order to go for your goals, needing emotional security, right, in order to feel as if whatever it is you're passionate about is worth being passionate for. So this can cause a lot of different things. You see a lot of people online. The main things people will tell you online is passive aggression, which again comes from, passive aggression is when you aren't doing whatever it is that you want to do and you see somebody else doing it. So you might passively passively express your frustration, but you don't necessarily want that head-on collision, because a lot of times in a subconscious way, a lot of people, I believe that people be knowing what they doing, but a lot of times certain things happen subconsciously. It's more of, you got to think of Cancer as like reaction based. So a lot of times things that frustrate us or make us highly uncomfortable or make us insecure these are what we can closely look at as saying, oh, that's a trigger. And things that make us insecure, sometimes that trigger, it leads to a reaction that takes place without a lot of thought necessarily. So this is where you get those situations where you blurt out something, or something, you react in a way where in the moment you couldn't quite see anything outside of you taking whatever it is that hits you personally. So this is the thing. When it comes to our passions, we're getting real personal with our passions. Now, if you are in a situation where you planted the wrong seeds, right, you'll be in a situation where maybe you are in a very private space with your passions, but you're uncomfortable in that space, aka you haven't really addressed certain things, whether it's because it can come from a lot of different things based upon what you are experiencing as an individual. Because what it is like when Mars was in Gemini, that was the time to communicate, to share ideas about what you're passionate about. Right now, you're going to need those people that you communicated to in order to have somebody around you to support. Now, we on a spiritual level all need to know how to create support within ourselves, how to become our own source, and how to get up off our own ass without the need of another person. Because that's the thing, another person can't save you from yourself. You are always going to be your number one enemy, until you learn how to utilize your mind, and you learn how to slow things down, and how to actually talk to yourself in a way in which you can be productive and forward moving, and not just stagnant. And sometimes, again, we go through different phases where sometimes it is about staying still. And that's another thing that might, you should pay attention to, is like, you are always the operator, but sometimes we experience things, or we're going through things where whenever you feel stuck in life, it's really just a situation where you need to just go within yourself and start to identify what it is that's leading to the actions that you actually don't like about what's going on at the moment. So a lot of times we might feel stagnant, or we might be like, damn, I don't know what to do at this moment. And a lot of times you'll be so caught up in what's going on in these transits, the current, that you'll want to just apply yourself, and you might not actually know how. You know what I'm saying? So you end up being, again, you might procrastinate on things. You might approach the situation in a way that you're not actually being effective, and you notice it. So a lot of times it's like, those are the times in which you do actually have to slow down. And the thing is not to slow down and give up or change your idea about what path you're on, but it's about identifying what's keeping you in the same loop, aka those surrounding thoughts that you are frequenting. Okay, what about the space and the cycle I'm in is keeping me here? You know what I'm saying? If this is not where I want to be, because a lot of times we be in frustrating circumstances, but we can't find our way out. We can't quite figure out our way out of it. So it really is a matter of us slowing down. And see, this is where Mars and Cancer can help, because it's all about the vibe. So a lot of times you can follow the feeling. So if the feeling is you being unmotivated, okay, what about the situation you're in is taking away your focus? What about the situation you're in is causing you to feel some kind of way? And it's like, look at the frustrations around you. And see, again, it's this square. A lot of times squares become very helpful in life, because and specifically if you are committed to being on your spiritual journey. Because here's the thing, the shit not easy, and the shit, you got to learn how to appreciate the uncomfortability. You have to learn how to appreciate your advancement as an individual, like how you are learning and piecing together life. Some people shy away from these things. Some people just want to accept what is and be lazy. And again, I'm not saying that, again, we all want to chill. But the thing is, there's people who are committed to their spiritual path who earn time to chill, aka you are so invested in your self-love and your self-knowledge and your self-development and your spiritual path that the universe rewards you with moments of bliss and peace the right way, aka it's like you put yourself in a situation where you saved yourself, and you put yourself in a better position, or a better mentality, a better feeling, and you can enjoy and live with gratitude. And it starts to become a thing where it becomes your everyday thing, where it's like every day is something to be grateful for, and you approach life that way. And then again, the universe gives you exactly what you deserve. So if you live in gratitude, you receive things that remind you of those grateful feelings. So this is you becoming, again, blessed, being given something that's greater than what you could have imagined, based upon your state of being, based upon what you were communicating to yourself and what you were talking to God about. And this is how you stay consistent on that. And then there's individuals who, again, shy away from those things, and they try to, again, and we all go through times where we do both. Because there's times where we, again, you could be on your spiritual path, but say every now and then, something to catch our attention, a desire or a shortcut, something that looks like we can get a lot for a little, something that looks like, again, something that shimmers in the light, something that's gold, and then we're like, ooh, what's that? It's shiny, and we run to it. And sometimes we make mistakes, and these things, again, show us where we couldn't get over, show us, because again, we go through all that work and that stress trying to cut that corner, and then the benefit or the reward that we get for that is not God-given. So a lot of times it'd be either short-lived or something that is taken away too fast. Yeah, short-lived, taken away too fast, not quite as fulfilling as we thought it could be, or it leaves us actually with less than we started with. AKA, it's like the idea of you making a big purchase, thinking it was, you bought these, sunglasses for $2,000. And it's like you thought they were the coolest glasses, and you even had fantasies about how your life would change when you got your hands on them. But then it's like you bought them, and then when they in your hands, you realize, damn, I just spent $2,000 on these, on some plastic and glass. Like, I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have the same value that it did in the store, or maybe you even got, again, enticed by what that desire could do for you, and you got talked into, again, you took the esoteric salesperson's word for it, and you got sold something that was actually a dud, or something that, like, you receive a gift on Christmas, and it's like, once you get it, it's like, damn, I had wanted this so bad, but now I don't even want it. I got it now, and it ain't even, again, it's not as fulfilling as I thought it could be, because I didn't really earn it. It's not really God-given. It's just some shit that I thought was good, and I thought that was cool, but it's really just man-made. So man-made things is so, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so, I don't know, basic. I don't know how to explain it, but y'all know what I'm talking about, where it's like certain, everything man-made and man-given and based upon desire, like money, it just doesn't lead to anything really. And it's like you could value money and stuff like that, and money has value if you use it for what you want, but a lot of times people don't even, it's not about the money, you know what I'm saying? It's about having enough to afford the things that you want to do with it. So it's whether that's an experience, or whether that's, some form of security, like a nice house, or a nice, something that makes it look like, again, something that you enjoy. Because some people just like how cars look, regardless of whether it's an asset or a liability, and how valuable it can be. Some people just genuinely like that. It makes them happy to be in a nice car type shit. But it's about the thing that the money can buy, not so much the money itself. So it's like you're not really chasing money, you're really chasing whatever it is that you're using that money for, but if you were to be a person who chase money, you'll soon realize how worthless it is, and how, again, it's a never ending thing. It's like when they put like a piece of meat in front of like somebody, in front of like an animal, and it leads them on, you know what I'm saying? But they can never quite get it, but it leads them on, and it can lead them right off a cliff. So don't get led off a cliff based upon these things. But getting back to Mars and Cancer, for instance. So Mars and Cancer it's a complex area for Mars to be in, especially during Aries season, because we're going to come to a lot of conflicts where we might not feel like we have the energy to do what it is that we know we need to do. And this is where we have to learn, okay, what is the emotional, because again, our passions are, they are at this moment in time, they're being fueled directly by our emotional state. Now it's Cancer though. So the positive thing is the fact that Cancer is cardinal. So it's about choosing to change. It's about, but first we have to know what emotional state we're in, and what actually makes us comfortable. What would make you more comfortable? And these things can help you. Either you can start to put passion behind getting to that space, or you can utilize, it's like because you've either got zero energy at the moment, or you already got the energy, you got things going, and it's about more so maintaining, depending on where you are. And then neither one is better than the other, because the whole goal is, because even if, say, you do got the passion to do what you want to do, that's great, you probably were planting the right seeds, but how do you maintain that? Well, you don't maintain that by continuing on blindly. You have to identify what about what you're doing at the current moment is making you comfortable, and what about it can you lean into and nurture in order for you to get the most out of your passions, and for you to actually continue on the right path and not get swept up when the next transit hits that kind of misaligns you, because we still have work to do. Saturn is in Pisces now. So again, if we are passionate to do what we love to do, or we are passionate to do what we feel like doing right at the moment, then how can we take that and make that long term? How can we take that and strategize? How can we utilize our Mars energy more efficiently? And it's all coming in the form of emotion. So on an emotional level, we have to get in touch with ourselves, because that's the thing. There's so many layers that, again, you got to realize that Mars in this position is very temperamental, because you could wake up one day and not be in the mood for it, and that fuck up your whole flow. And so we have to take our power in the sense of knowing, because like I was speaking about Saturn and Pisces, it's about creating boundaries and restrictions from certain feelings that keep us stagnant, certain feelings that keep us away from our dreams, aka feelings of thought, of doubt, feelings of just overall moodiness that keep us from actually, because we all gonna go through moods, especially, depending on what you got in your chart. We all gonna go through moods and phases. But that's the thing, like in Aries season, we got to understand what's necessary. We have to put some of these feelings aside in order to spark something new. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about Aries energy. It needs to evaporate a lot of that water for it to be itself. And that's what creates steam and the creativity. Something to talk about is because of that experience of, all right, I have a lot of feelings, but I have to at some point dissolve these things so I can take action. Now that I've taken action, I have something I can stand on. That's the Taurus energy. I have something now that I can make sense out of and create stability from. And then from that, I'll have something to talk about. So if you think about the creative process, it's like you going through something, right? You doing something new, going through something, making sense out of it. And the sense is values. You know what I'm saying? So this is like you having values behind whatever it is that you experienced or whatever it is that you sparked and gave new life to. That new life now has something of value from it. And that value now can be communicated and shared in Gemini season. So in a lot of ways, this springtime for us, right? It's like, okay, springing into action, right? Now that we're in action, that's all we got to focus on right now. But what will keep us out of making actions and actually living out this energy the way we're supposed to, the things that's going to keep us from that are Mars and Cancer. Us not having the motivation, the passion or the willpower to actually go for these goals due to insecurities, things that we're emotionally wrapped up in that aren't allowing us to continue, things that are keeping us reminiscent of times in which we may have failed, times in which, because Mars is also squaring Chiron, Mars is also squaring Jupiter. So there's things that our passions need to learn. They need to learn where our wisdom is and what we can actually derive to in order to help it. You know what I'm saying? It needs to learn and remember, okay, what about my experience needs my attention? What about my experience needs my passion or frustration, whatever it is? Because sometimes frustration helps us. Sometimes it's those things that, anger and aggression. Sometimes these things are necessary for us to utilize in order for us to get through something. Because that's the thing about Mars. It's about a focused energy. It's like a punch, a good punch. And sometimes we need to punch through something. We need to directly hit something. But we're in the world of indirect right now. You know what I'm saying? Mars and Cancer is going to force you to be indirect. So you got to look at things like, okay, because Mars is almost like in power save mode. So we need to figure out how we can be more efficient with our passion. If we're not, we're going to become a lot more exhausted. And the reason is because Mars will be doing things it's not supposed to do. AKA Mars will be getting frustrated, taking too busy taking things personal to do anything productive, or too uncomfortable to get out of its own way to do anything productive. Or Mars and Cancer could also be creating its own, it's like creating its own turmoil, creating its own moodiness that's just unnecessary, and it's not what Mars needs us to focus on. You know what I'm saying? You too moody to actually get out of whatever it is that's and I say that with compassion because I get it, because it's like sometimes we don't even realize, where it takes place or where things kind of go left, because it's like, you'll be fighting with yourself. And it's like, that's why I always say with water transits, they're very key. And a lot of it is rooted in insecurity. But it sometimes it don't even be insecurity. It just be it be comfort. It be your ability to kind of come to grips with something. You know what I'm saying? AKA, and a lot of times, we're dealing with moony energy, like moody but moony. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with moon energy, a lot of it is push and pull. A lot of it is a situation where, you can't quite tell. It's like you can't quite tell where it's at until you slow down and you say, okay, how do I feel? And from that, how do I feel? Understanding the different emotional pathways that got you there. You know what I'm saying? What is the actual root of this feeling? You know what I'm saying? So like Mars and Cancers needs us to address those things. Like what's going on privately? What's going on at the core, at the heart of you? What's going on with your heart at the moment? What's your heart in? Why is your heart not in what you're doing? And sometimes, again, we be going through so many different things in the world that it keeps us from our heart space. It keeps us from really connecting with ourselves and having enough time for us to sit and really come to a conclusion on how we want to feel about things. And that's what Cancer needs. And it needs you to be cardinal and directional and intentional with what you actually care about. What are you actually doing at the moment? And we have to be able to see through our experiences. We have to be able to see, or I'm saying see, but feel. We have to feel into our experience. What about my experience it's like, where am I going with it? And see, that's actually a opportunity, because the moon is sextile in the North Node. Even though the North Node is making its way to, I believe, Gemini, right? Still, there's a sextile there where it's like, where there's an opportunity for you to really start to, okay, my spiritual path, where I'm going, seeing the opportunity for you to basically change your feeling to suit that. You know what I'm saying? Change your how you feel in order to support that better, or for it to support you better. But we have to learn through our experience. So this is us having an opportunity to really understand and connect our passions to where our spiritual path is headed. And that's kind of what this energy right here in the first part of spring is all about. Because with also those other shifts like Saturn going into Pisces, again, that's a gift for you to structure out some of these passions. But it's also a gift on an emotional level for you to start to understand some of the inner workings of yourself when it comes to your frustrations, and when it comes to, again, you and how you are choosing to structure your inner world. So this is almost like an opportunity for you to learn how to actually apply Mars better due to that trine with Saturn. But it's also going to make you, and again, this is where it's tough in the beginning, because in the beginning it's going to spark all kinds of different restrictions that you are pretty much putting on yourself. You're putting yourself in a situation where you're mentally restricted or emotionally restricted based upon Saturn being new and fresh into Pisces. And so it's kind of shaking up your world a little bit. Certain things that made sense before don't make sense now. Before, Saturn was in Aquarius, so it made sense for you to be very focused on your community and more focused on your ideas and how you're structuring your mind. Now it's about emotions. It's not so much about how good you can talk right now. Even when it comes to your community, Pluto is now in Aquarius, so our communities are already changing. So there's already ways you can't quite associate with the people you had around you before that you have to now adapt to. So Saturn and Pisces, though, that's more so internal on this end. So certain beliefs you had about your community or certain beliefs you had about yourself are now being transformed or needing some attention for you to start to restructure and figure out. Now, our passions, again, follow along. Our passions was trying in Saturn already with Mars and Aquarius. Now it's kind of switched into the water end. So Mars is now trying in Saturn, dealing with water. So we figured out our mind. Now it's about figuring out how we feel about it. Mars is in a cardinal position, which is, Cool, so we know that when it comes to our feelings, we need to direct these things. So the root of the issue is that you need to pay attention to how you're directing your feelings. What are you actually putting this emotional investment into? What are you actually putting emotional support behind? Because a lot of times, say you are in a situation where you're not able to kind of see past your experiences, you are still kind of frustrated about certain things that you made as far as mistakes, and what you're looking at, you want to do this new thing, but you just don't know how. You can't quite see it yet. But because with the sun in Aries, it's exalted there, so it loves to be there. There's a fight there, but at the same time, it could still cause frustration just based upon you not knowing how to actually set your intentions for that thing based upon how you feel. But that's where, again, a change is needed to be made, and where that learning process could actually take place for you to understand, oh, I've been emotionally investing into me being frustrated about this job I'm going to, or I've been emotionally invested in me not having the energy or not being able to do X, Y, and Z. Like, sometimes we can stress ourselves out so much about what it's going to take to get somewhere than just, again, surrendering to the fact that this is what I want to do, so I'm just going to do it. And part of that, depending on what house it's in, is going to tell you, okay, this is how this is the area of life is going to crop up the most, where you need to reassess where you're placing your emotional investment, where you're directing your emotions and moods at. Are you directing it in the right way? Because if you're not, this is going to create that frustration, which is going to lead to passive aggression. Even if you're not being a passive aggressive to other people, you're going to be passive aggressive to yourself, aka you're low-key beating yourself up in a way that no one else can see, but in private you're almost crying to yourself. And at first it's going to look like just pure frustration, but over time, at the end of this Aries transit, you're going to realize how much time you actually wasted in the wrong fight. And that's going to make you even more depressed. That's going to make you even more moody and more frustrated, especially if people around you are doing what they want to do, or seemingly doing what they want to do. Because that's the thing. You also don't know what everybody else is going through. So this is where Mars also makes it personal. It's not about anybody else right now. It's about you, for real. So when it comes to your passions and whatever's frustrating you, the second you start to point at somebody else as a frustrating factor, you really need to see where you were uncomfortable with certain things, or where their actions have triggered a piece of you that feels maybe insecure or unheard, or as if you needed to take that personal. Because anything you're taking personal, you got to realize, like, everybody is in their own world. Not to say that certain people do certain things on purpose to hurt others and that you need to address that. No, that's very much a real thing. But at the very same time, we always need to understand our own selves. And again, when it comes to Mars, so our frustrations and all these things, our passions, these things need to be personal to us right now. So we need to find ways in which we can make that passion more personal, make it more personal to us, not so much in a way where the negative end is like you taking other people's success personal, or you taking other people's passions personal, or even their frustrations personal. Really what it is you need to instead make your passion so personal that it don't matter what anybody else is doing. At a certain point, you know what you're here to do, so you've created comfort around whatever it is that you need to do. So that is an extra layer of pretty much confidence. And this is how you heal a lot of these insecurities, when you just come to grips with, this makes me feel good, but not in a demonic way where you're searching for a desire. This is something that you initiated on yourself to choose, like, no, this is what makes me comfortable. This is what I'm here to do. And on this path, this is what's necessary. I'm going to take that opportunity and I'm going to solidify it through my gift with Saturn. And this is what we're going to choose to go forward with. And also it's a sextile with Uranus as well. So our opportunity it's an opportunity for us to become passionately comfortable with what it is that we are doing on a unique level in regards to our spiritual path. And then Mars is also going to be so we talked about a lot of these things. Now the misunderstanding is coming through Pluto, because that's where Pluto is now in Aquarius. So a lot of our mentalities need to transform. Things that we were fixed on mentally need to transform in order for us to associate to new thoughts, new ideas, also new individuals, new people. But before it gets to external, we know it's all internal first. So this new transformation that's taking place mentally, we might misunderstand how to actually transform ourselves in regards to our passions. Our passions might not quite understand this, like either we are stuck in our feelings and we can't quite get into this new space, so we misunderstand the ideas to take to transform, or we're already transforming ourselves, right? Transforming our ideas, my bad. Already transforming our ideas, and it's our emotional state that needs to catch up, aka we need to become more comfortable with the fact that, hey, this is that time in my life where things are changing and I have to commit to them. And through this commitment, this is how you maintain better seeds, or just plant better seeds in general. It's just you understanding how life is shifting right now. Now, the more specific you can become is you looking at your chart and seeing what house everything is in, and it's like, okay, cool. You can start to understand, okay, if I have these energies, wherever these energies are, this is how these areas of my life are going to be interacting. You know what I'm saying? So that's always a thing to pay attention to keep you on track. But for the most part, understanding how everything is shifting. Right now, we're going through a massive shift emotionally, right? While we are in the first part of spring, actively doing new things. So our emotions right now are, again, highly uncomfortable, but we know we have to get a grip of it, because this is neither now or never. And that's year 7 energy, adopting the actual, you know what I'm saying? It's like that higher self thing, where it's like, don't look at your higher self as something different than you. You need to become that. You need to bring that down or elevate yourself. It's really like both. And you're finding that middle ground. You know what I'm saying? You're finding that equilibrium within bringing your higher self down and then lifting your lower self up. You know what I'm saying? But again, don't look at it as split people. Look at it like your own internal, and you aligning yourself better with your idea of what you want to be. Because a lot of times that's the thing. We all have an idea of who we are, but a lot of times you get in your own way and you end up, making a detour. And this is where you get caught up in, just basically the wrong kind of lie. Instead of believing in yourself, you believed a lie. You believed what somebody else told you was, or you believed a part of you that later on down the line you realize, damn, I wasted time being this, and I was never that. You know what I'm saying? This is like you going through life and going through those transformations that you was like, damn, that was a phase in my life. I thought I was that, but I wasn't. Now, we all have to go through things like that sometimes to lose ourselves and understand who we are in the new. And, rebirth and death, we constantly going through these things. But, that's the thing. You can save yourself some time, some heartache, just being aware of who you really are and staying the course. Hopefully all your transformations was leading to the same place. Sometimes people make transformations and do complete 180s, but hey, it's life. Everybody got their own journey, their own karma, their own shit to work out in this lifetime. So don't, it's not no thing. I'm not saying nothing to it. I'm just saying it is what it is, basically. Whatever you're going through, chances are these are things you've been going through, throughout lifetimes. So we have to, address those things and just be aware overall, like, okay, this is my pattern. This is what I be doing. Start to address those things. Start to pay attention to what's actually keeping you in that space. When it comes to your passions and motivations, it's already going to be in a tough spot, but it's like, depending on what area of your life you can really, and the reason why Mars is highlighted right now is just due to the fact that we actually are in Aries season. So it's like we need to know where our passions are at, because that's going to be the thing that's going to help us continue on. So we have a lot to learn this year. I mean, a lot to learn at this time, just understanding that, hey, the sun's focus, the actual planet that, we're in Aries season, the planet of Aries is in a position it don't like to do, where it squares our current sun. Okay, we got a lot to learn. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot to learn. Versus if say Mars was in a fire sign, Mars was in like Sagittarius or something, it'd be a gift. So we know that this season we have a gift right now when it's our opportunity to get it straight. Just like when Mars was in, and that's yeah. But anyway, I don't want to go too far to that. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. But yeah. So that's what's going on right now, and then Mars is also trining Mercury's in Aries. Yeah. So Mars is squaring Mercury. You know what I'm saying? So thinking through, a lot of times, like, our mind, and it is going to create friction right now because our mind wants to be on the new thing, but our passions and what's frustrating us, we're going to be taking that personal. So it's like another situation where we have to learn how to redirect our feelings, but it's not about ignoring or lying to yourself, putting a band-aid over a leaking hole, you know what I'm saying? Because that water is going to eventually break that adhesive and bust through that tape, tape or band-aid or whatever it is. It's like we have to actually address some of these things in order to shift the direction of our current, to shift the direction of our mood, to change, again, cardinal, to change. And that's what all this energy is. It's a whole lot of cardinal energy at this point. It's all about change. It's all about changing. Okay, I need to change my emotional state in order to fit my new change of actions, because that's what Aries is. It's a change of actions, but that change of actions is squaring Cancer. So it's learning how to change our moods to support our actions, because that be the thing. We need to find ways in which our moon can support our sun. So not talking about the moon, but just the moon energy, Cancer energy, where it's at right now. That's really what it is. The sun, it's like they support each other. The sun goes out and does what the moon needs for it to be comfortable, but the moon has a responsibility to inspire the sun and to also comfort the sun and rejuvenate the sun, you know what I'm saying, and support the sun in its journey. See, that's how even we talk about masculine and feminine energy working together, whether it's within you or externally in an actual relationship. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of, you know what I'm saying, but just feminine and masculine energy working in tandem. The masculine energy needs to be willing to go through the work, to do the heavy lifting, to go out and push, right? Push, but push for the purpose of bringing it back, and not just any old thing back, bringing back the thing that's going to make the moon comfortable. But so that's like the masculine side of it, having the energy to do it. But what gives the sun the energy to do it is the support it receives from the feminine. So that's what the feminine role is in everything, is to inspire and give context to the masculine energy's mission. So the masculine energy could have a mission to open a Wendy's, right? The feminine energy sees that mission and says, well, I can see myself with that mission because it kind of it's in alignment. It seems like it can get me what I need, which is Frosties. You know what I'm saying? Vanilla Frosties. Okay. The masculine energy's mission is to own a Wendy's. I like Frosties. These make me the most comfortable. Okay, I can see where that aligns. So I need to make sure I keep it inspiring and encouraging and supporting the pursuit of that Wendy's, whether that's helping with figuring out a location or whatever it is going to take to get that Wendy's. Support that. And then the masculine, though, needs to make sure that it actually goes out and does the work to get that Wendy's, to bring a Frosty home. And it can bring enough Frosties home. Again, it's like, if it's not bringing no Frosty home, you can't be mad at the feminine energy for looking at it like, hey, how am I supporting something that's not getting me what I need to feel comfortable? Because the more comfortable I can feel, the better I can support. But the better you can support is the more it should increase the amount of Frosties that the dude on the mission for the Wendy's can get back. I know that's a dumbass analogy, but this is how, again, you got to understand masculine and feminine energy and how it works, because a lot of times, like today's age, people just don't understand how men and women are supposed to interact. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want what they want up front, and a lot of times you get individuals who stingy with giving what they need to be given, aka you get a dude who don't want to go out and work, but You know what I'm saying? It's like both ways. A dude that don't want to go out and work because, or this is where it's backwards anyway. You get a dude who don't want to get out and work because he don't see the value in money of that, because he don't have no inspiration. Okay, he don't have no feminine energy to inspire him to want to get off his ass. But he don't realize you're coming to the table with nothing. You're gonna have to offer something, and the feminine energy wants to receive but isn't willing to support, because they want what they need up front. Like, I need that money up front, and maybe I'll come around to supporting what you got going on if it can keep giving me what I need. And see, it's like both parties is not realizing that, this is why, again, you got to make relationships off of more than just physical shit. Because if these physical things, and the only thing you can be comfortable enough to do what you do is seeing something physical as a response to that, then you must not really be into whatever you're doing. See, when you got a spiritual, like when you on a spiritual path and you've developed your sense of a mission and your sense of self to the point where you know where you're going, aka you a man on a mission, you a woman who knows what she wants. A man on a mission already doing what he doing spiritually. Like, you already doing what you're doing. A female who's spiritually inclined is already aware of what she brings to the table. So it's a situation where she can decide whether or not, it's hard to explain because there'd be many different things to go into this, but hopefully y'all are still following me. Like, with the feminine energy that's on their path, they already have a certain awareness of what's going to work and what's not. So their decision to go with somebody is different than a feminine energy that's in desires, like on the lower nature, and more so following what they want, if that makes sense. It's like, because with the feminine energy, it's more about understanding what you have to offer. A woman that doesn't understand her own value, isn't on her spiritual path, she's not going to have a sense of self strong enough to truly know what she want. She's going to just see what she want, aka she knows she need her bills paid. She knows she got, spending, like, she knows she got things that she likes to wear, or things that make her feel good. Even if she on her grind and got her own money, there's still certain things that she's going to want, that when she's looking at dudes to be with, it's going to be more based on who can offer her the best of what she want, but not understanding, like, more so what she need or what's going to make the most sense and what she's willing to actually support. That's not going to be on her mind, because that's the thing about spirituality. It's like understanding yourself, learning yourself. It's about individuality. So a woman that knows herself, she's going to know what makes the most sense to align with. So she's going to be willing to support it, knowing that that's already in alignment with what she's comfortable with and what she knows she wants in her life. A woman who just don't know herself, she's chasing the bag. She's chasing what's going to make her feel the best, whether it's, again, the bag to buy all the things that she want, and not actually assess whether or not that dude is going to be something that she respect or something that she's willing to contribute in. So this gets her in a lot of fucked up situations, because she ends up committing or being in a situation where she's dependent on an individual who don't even know what they doing. So this makes her a bad judge of character, and that's where women mess up, because it's like, in a lot of ways, they are the manifestors through it. It's like, I don't want to say you the prize. Like, both of y'all the prize. Both of y'all the prize coming together. Y'all have to see yourselves as the prize. It's not like one person the prize, but the woman is in that situation where, a lot of times this is where women get the short end of the stick. A lot of times, where it's like, you don't even got a dude who respects you, because you didn't pick you didn't align with the right individual. Because that's the thing too, when it comes to men, it's like men be subconsciously choosing who they gonna respect and not. So if a masculine energy can tell what it is that you want or what it is that you here for, even if they aren't intelligent enough to like point it out, that subconsciously they be knowing, and they treat you how you come to them. So this is why, if you are female and say you think you got a dude and low key you don't even really like him, but you keep him around for X, Y, and Z, right? Now, depending on what kind of dude and what his self confidence is and how he, is with himself, he might go along with it and be a doofus and just kind of pay for whatever you got going on. But a lot of times, if you got a dude who got a somewhat of a sense, who know who he is, he gonna end up putting you through a lot more turmoil because you thought you was gonna get over, but he can pick up on, oh, she just want this. So a lot of times he'll even fuck around and depending on where he at, he'll use that just to keep you in that space. And you wonder why, as a female, you going through chaos, or you keep going through certain situations where, say, y'all have sex and you get certain infections and stuff like that, or you just wonder why things are playing out for you in a certain way where you can't ever, it's like, it's hard to explain, but y'all understand those subtle things that throw y'all off, because women be sensitive to a lot of things. And when a dude when a dude doing dirt, it rubs off on the woman a lot of times because of how women connect in general. They get so immersed that it's like women are worlds. So think about having a world, but think about having a disease being spread within that world, and that becomes that masculine energy, aka the thoughts that she's around and the way in which she's going about life is like, it changes the whole color of that world. But that's how a man affects a woman. But how a woman affects a man will be going through chaos based upon being with the wrong woman, aka a man who not on his spiritual journey, he not gonna really know where his path and focus need to be at. So he'll get lost in the world, aka he'll get with the wrong woman and waste his time doing a bunch of other shit other than what he's supposed to be doing, aka you got a woman who distracts you from your mission, your goal, your dream, and keeps you hustling for some shit that she want to make her comfortable. But here's the thing, she moves the goalposts and she's never satisfied because she probably don't even know what she want. Or she actually quite the opposite, she know exactly what she want and it's not you. So nothing you do will ever size up to that, aka it keeps you as a man not confident, insecure. A man who's insecure will never amount to shit. I know we all deal with insecurities, but a man who's with a woman, like that's a man who with a woman who because women will, same thing, a subconscious thing. Whereas a man, like you can pick up on it, but you can't identify it. That'll drive you nuts. And if she really don't like you, she'll put you through a bunch of trials where you got to jump through hoops just to get crumbs. But a man needs that shit in order to make himself, again, to give him the willpower, to give him the fight, the vision to keep on going. You know what I'm saying? So a man who's in a world that doesn't support him, think about that. You know what I'm saying? You in a world that don't support you. It's like a fish out of water. You're going to suffocate and you're eventually going to die. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's not support, that environment doesn't support your growth. It doesn't support anything of it. So this becomes a man who becomes highly unproductive, highly destructive almost to himself and others. So it gets deep with certain shit. I know that's a mad crazy tangent, but this how these energies be interacting with each other. So you got to learn how to treat yourself nice, aka learn how to create feelings that support your ideas, and learn how to utilize your ideas to make yourself comfortable. It's like using ideas to go out and get what you need in order to get what you need and to make it comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And again, we know we don't get what we need, but it's about getting what you deserve. So if you got your idea on the right things and you're actively using your body and your actions to reflect those ideas that are in alignment with your emotional needs and values. This is why values become important, because if you don't know your values, your intentions won't have the right direction to them, because you need to utilize your intentions to go out in the direction or in the name of your values. And what you bring back, it's like what you put in is what you get out. So what you direct your intention to is what bing, and you get back that. You get back what intention you put out. So if it's in alignment with your values, you end up receiving everything you need to feel the most comfortable as yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this is like the inner alchemy, this the inner magic that we really all need to remember in order for us to actually be in the world the right way and not just be wasting time or doing bullshit, wondering why we're in turmoil. A lot of times, 90% of it just comes from you. 99.3% of it just be how you're positioning your mind. It always comes back to how you're thinking about the situation. And this goes for everything. Even if you feel like you're in depression, you're in a loop. It starts with you identifying what is making me depressed. That's why why the world fucked up, because nobody's asking the right question. People be asking the question, what's gonna make me feel better? Fuck that. What's making you depressed in the first place? Identify that shit. Because the feel better is you doing it the reverse way. You finding a medicine. That's putting a Band-Aid over a water dam hole, like a hole in the dam. Like, it's not going to work. That water going to come through. And that's why water transits be so powerful, because it's the core shit. You can't just slap a Band-Aid on it. It's not like an earth transit. You can't just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't just fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what getting air and earth signs in trouble with fire and water signs. You can't just fix it. You have to address it and get to the core of it to heal it. You know what I'm saying? But vice versa, you know what I'm saying? There are things that you can't just fix. But a lot of times with water transits, the reason why they're so heavy and why it's so hard is because you actually, sometimes you can't fix it. You got to take time to heal it. So you have to address it. You have to, there's a hole in the dam. First, you got to understand, what's going on. Like, how is it seeping through? Where is it weakening? Like, where on the other side of the dam is it getting weak? How can we actually fulfill this hole without it, the whole structure shutting down? Because it's like you slap a Band-Aid on it, you think you could just fix it. It's like, no, it's a core problem. Something on the other end is not quite. And I know that's a funny analogy and it might not be the best, but my point is, when it comes to water and stuff like that, like, water ain't something, you can't fix water. You treat water and you remove some of the top, you filter water. You can filter it. So as an earth sign, how you can be supportive to your water sign friends, you can become a filter. AKA, you see they in a chaotic state, be there for them in a way which you can start to help them piece out what they don't need no more. Like, okay, I understand you're going through your feelings, okay, but let's start to understand some of the bright side of this, and not like ignoring the fact that they're feeling what they're feeling, but just saying, okay, well, let's sit with it and let's see what we can filter out of, like, let's see how we can remove some of that toxic shit. Your feelings are all over the place. This is how you can be a sense of stability for your friend. And it's not about always, but again, if you're an earth sign and you wonder how you can be there for a water sign, for instance, it's do what earth can do for water. Whether that's helping them stay on track, like, being a dam and being like, hold on, like, don't do anything irrational. Let's filter through this. Being a filter. Let's slow down that water. You in a whirlwind. Let's slow down some of that water and start to piece together what we can from those feelings in order for you to make sense out of them. You know what I'm saying? Not just ignoring them or dismissing their feelings, blocking their feelings, or disregarding their feelings. Become a filter. Be like, hey, say, okay, I understand you're feeling what you're feeling. Let's feel those things, but let's start to remove some of those feelings we don't need. I could tell you that, but that'll make sense for you. However, it'll make sense. Being there for your fire friends. Since sometimes they just need you to sit there and be a fireplace. Like, just let them, throw their fire at the wall. Eventually, that fire will dim down to where it needs to be at, and yeah. This is a bit specifically, just talking about being there for your friends type shit. Because again, like, you be out in the world, don't just be doing that for everybody. But if this is a person you connected to and you want to know how to be there for them, that's what it starts to come down to. Understanding that, like, understanding elements, you can become creative on how you use these elements. So if okay, I'm in a situation, even if you are a fire, earth sign, and you're going through an emotional situation, learning how to let water flow through you so you can feel your feelings, but through that process, still know what feelings are allowed to flow through, and putting the proper filtration on the feelings you don't need to continue to on with. So it's like, don't take on feelings of you being the problem or you being the blame. Even if you are the cause of somebody else's turmoil, or you are the cause of a problem, understanding what feelings you were feeling that kept you there, so that you know what to filter. Oh, I was feeling this kind of way, and that made me react this kind of way. Okay, let me filter through that. Let me take away some of that pain that I might have been feeling that led to me acting this way, and let's let the rest of the water flow through, so that I know, okay, next time, I won't be so triggered by the same things. I can grow and evolve. Hopefully that makes sense to you if you are earth sign. It should. Easier said than done. But because they'd be like, earth signs are too dry, and that's what makes you dry, not wanting to deal with any feelings. But there are good feelings to actually go through. So become a filter more so, where you can flow and you can feel. But and it's not about always being positive, because sometimes it's about filtering just what you don't need. Sometimes you do need a little bit of that bad feeling, a little bit of that, whatever feeling, all kinds of feelings. It's like feelings of second guessing, even regret. Sometimes we do need to feel things like that for us to understand where we stand, for us to understand, oh, I actually do want to do. So next time something like that comes up, I'm not going to regret it anymore. I'm going to go for it regardless of how I feel. Small things like that. Sometimes we do need to feel regret or shame. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like I felt ashamed of this. Well, understanding, okay, but this is why I felt ashamed. Maybe I don't need to feel ashamed about that next time. Maybe I need to understand what I felt ashamed of, and instead remove that from my actions and change those ways in order for me to feel more like myself and feel more comfortable in my skin. So it's like different things like that. But yeah, so this is that Mars and Cancer video for the most part. Just Mars and Cancer. It's gonna take us actually getting to the core things and healing things, so that we can apply the proper pressure to whatever it is that we are on the path to do, instead of allowing us not knowing what to do with our passions create more toxic situations for us, aka manifest situations in which we can't quite go for our goals. And this is us either procrastinating through, again, false drowsiness. You wonder why you're so drowsy. It's like sometimes we're inflicting that on ourselves. Sometimes that's not actually true. We're not actually that tired. We're just frustrated, maybe a little scared, or maybe a little uncomfortable, maybe just confused and not knowing what to do. So in that confusion, I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? I'm exhausted. I'm everywhere emotionally, because emotions drain you. Emotions, like, you go through the day, you might not have did nothing physically, but if you went through so many different feelings based upon not knowing how to feel, you're drained. You know what I'm saying? So this is learning how to be more efficient with some of that energy. But anyway, much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.